Welcome to the Abundant and Free podcast. I'm your host, Danny DiTerlizzi, and chances are, if you've made it here, you are like me, a seeker and or finder of truth or information. I want you to know that you've made it to the right place. My goal is to bring people to you who are much more knowledgeable than me on topics that have no bounds, so that we can learn together. Tools to help shift things in our lives, to be better mothers, partners, fathers, sisters, brothers, sons and daughters, business owners, and simply to remain open to life. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining. Today I have somebody very special to me. She was a very monumental support in my life during a really big event that happened, with that being the adoption of my daughter, Elijah. We've known each other for several years now, and I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed and how we kind of continue to cross here and there through the years, and how I get to watch her kids grow and just hear and see and witness her as a mom, as a wife and as a business owner. And I'm so grateful that she has both been there for me and been in my life for me to witness. She was definitely somebody who anchored me to my faith, during this time when I was going through the adoption with Elijah and Chris, and just being there to support me. It was so beautiful, and I'm so grateful. So everybody, welcome Missy. And how are you doing today, Missy?
Good. Thank you for having me and saying all that sweet stuff. It was a sweet time watching you walk through that. So I love that our journey continues no matter what changes. So thanks. I'm good. Today I'm good. I'm tired. I'm a mom, so I'm always tired, but I'm good.
I've had a few moms here on the podcast, and it's going to be interesting for me to like go back in time and watch and see like the energy shifts, because there's definitely like some days where I'm like, oh my God, hoorah, this is like going to be like the best podcast ever. Like all the questions, all the time, all the energy, all of the chemistry and whatnot. But
And then you can do a compilation video of all the moms saying I'm tired.
yeah,
And
right?
you could just have like hundreds of women being like, how are you today? Tired.
I
Tired.
need to find
tired.
I need to partner with like a musician or something that can make like these
A song out
yeah.
of it. Like, how are you? Tired.
Oh man. So Elijah is 7 now, and we adopted her when she was just a couple days old. And I remember that phone call I made to you and having you help me get stuff ready for her baby shower and even her room and everything and stuff, and how helpful that was. But I'm not sure we ever really sat down and talked about like your journey into adoption and what made you guys choose that particular path for you and your husband, Wendell.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I don't know that we ever talked about it as much as you experienced it, right? So we were married for a long time, had 2 biological children, and our youngest at the time was 4 when my husband actually is the one that asked me to foster. And when he asked me about it, he was working for a company, and his immediate boss was an adoptive dad. And so they were talking about it one day, and he came home from work and he was telling me about it, and he was like, what do you think about that? And I'm like, well, it's always been on my heart because of my childhood. And I know what it's like to be loved properly and to be in a secure environment after not being. So I think that always tugged on my heart. And so when he said, do you want to do this? I was like, yes, of course. And then that was on like a Friday. And then on Sunday we went to church, and a licensing agency was in like the courtyard of the church, like recruiting. And I was like, okay,
this is a sign.
This is a sign. This is what you asked for. And he goes, oh, whoa. I didn't mean like today. And so he was trying to backpedal, and I'm like, oh, but you did, So we jumped in feet first. And we signed up that day and became, over the next 10 or 12 weeks, whatever it took us to get licensed, we became foster parents. So that was kind of our introduction into the dependency world and the need for different than private adoption. We were not necessarily looking for adoption per se. We were looking to grow our family, not through adoption, but because we had space. Mm-hmm. So however long they wanted to stay or they needed to stay, we were open to that. We just knew we had more love to give.
Yeah.
And as naive as that sounds, it's exactly what it was. We just had love. We didn't have a lot of everything else, but we had love. And we're like, we got more time. We could give a couple kids some love. And little did we know.
Down the road.
Right.
You had no idea. And that's fascinating too for me. The fostering thing has always been very intimidating for me because of the attachments that I feel I'm capable of experiencing. And so I always tip my hat off to those people that open their home to kids, both permanently and temporarily. I feel like the security that I needed going through the adoption process was that he or she would remain in my home.
Right.
Because I wasn't certain of my capability of like grieving a child. Like,
I don't think anybody's prepared for that.
Yeah.
I think some of us are willing to risk it all.
Yeah.
And it's not an insult to those who aren't.
Sure.
I firmly believe, and I say this to everybody, I firmly believe that there's not a person I know in my life that would not,
Keep going.
it's okay. There's not a person in my life that I know that if I knocked on the door and said, I have this kid, they need a home, would you keep them? That they would turn them away and be like, no, I'm too afraid to get attached. What they would do is they would say yes. Yeah. The only difference between me and anybody, like even you, is I volunteered my doorstep. But if I came to you today and I said, Danny, I have this little girl that needs a place. Can you keep her? What would you tell me?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's the only difference. So I really believe that, like, we're all genuinely lovers of people, even if we're intimidated or scared.
Yeah.
And the only difference is I was willing to sacrifice my grief to open my door and say, this doorstep is open for whoever needs it, versus somebody coming to me and asking me.
Yeah. And I feel like that covers some of like the misconceptions of when people are like, oh yeah, I would foster, I would adopt, or vice versa. Like, there's a lot more to it than just having an urge. Right.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think that it's not just an urge. Okay, so every person that reads the newspaper or watches a news article and hears about, this kid's parents that pass away, or, you see the stories of the parents in addiction and, the police come and they take the kids, or severely neglected or abused, or, you see all these stories and you see the like keyboard warriors are like, oh, I hope that kid finds a wonderful home. Well, be the home. Be the home. Yeah. Like, you want them to find the home, but you clearly think you're a good person, so go be the home.
Yeah.
Like, none of us have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Like, there's this misconception. Like, I hate the things when people are like, oh, you're such a good person. No, I'm not. I suck. I'm terrible sometimes. But I am willing to put that aside, humble up, and still keep trying to be a better person.
Right.
And bring a kid home.
Yeah. And I think that goes for any person that is just a parent in general, right. Because kids, no matter if they're adopted or not, they're going to trigger you, and they're going to force that sharpening of ourselves, of our own awareness of how we operate, the things we do want to carry forward for our children, the things we don't want to.
I also think sometimes our biological tendencies come from our parents.
Oh, for sure.
When you're biologically related and you're like, I can't stand my mom. And then you're like, oh, I am my mom, or whatever your relationship looks like. So I feel like sometimes my birthed children rub me more friction and harder sometimes than my adopted children, because they have some, nature versus nurture. Of course, they act like me as well. But I just think that family friction is interesting.
So tell me how many biological children you have, how many adopted children you had, at what ages they were adopted into your family.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a long-winded version because I feel like most people don't know the details behind it. So I'm a teen mom. So I was 19 with my first daughter, who is now 21, birthed her, unmarried. I was like, town talk. Right. So here I was, a single teen mom, and figuring it out. And then I met my husband when she was very young, a few months old. And then we like rapid fire fell in love and got married. And we then had our son through in vitro. So I'm a teen mom and I'm a fertility struggle IVF mom. And so I was 24 when I had him, and he's an IVF ICSI baby. And then fast forward to when he was younger, I then had, we became foster parents, and then we adopted our first child, who is now 10. And that was back in 2014, she was born. So now I'm like 30 with her, right? So I've been 19, 24, and then 30. And then I was done. And I'm like, I don't want any more kids. I'm tired. There was 11 years between my oldest and youngest. And so I was feeling like the pull of trying to be have a teenager and have a newborn. And so many a times I was baby wearing at a volleyball tournament, you know, because she's in middle school. And then God had other plans for us, and our adopted daughter's birth mother conceived again and asked us to keep her girls together. And so that's a different podcast all in itself. But so then I was 37 when we got our youngest, who is now going to be 4.
Oh my goodness.
In like a month. And so I feel like I was the young, cool, hip mom that had all the energy in the world, no idea what I was doing, and no money. Then I was a married mom who was still super young and energetic and able and excited and, you know, co-parenting. Like, what is this? A husband while you're pregnant? This was so cool. And so that was like super fun. And that kid was hard. He was super hard. Never slept. Busy boy. My only boy. And then I felt like we had it together at 30. Like, I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, I know what I'm doing. No, I didn't. And then the caboose, the one that I was so done, didn't want any more kids. And she's like, I'm old. I'm tired. I'm the mom that shows up to these little hot 25-year-olds who have all these cute little toddlers and stuff. And I'm like tired and
bags under your eyes.
Yes. And they're like, you want to go to the beach for an hour? I'm like, an hour? It takes me an hour to get ready to go to the beach. Going anywhere with this toddler, you know, so it's just so different. But yeah, so 2 birthed children, very different dynamics, and then 2 adopted children, 3 girls and 1 boy.
Whew. I'm tired thinking about it.
Yeah, there's 18 years between the oldest and the youngest, 18 years. So I have one graduating college on Friday.
Wow.
With her undergrad in biology, and I have one turning 4.
So crazy.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
In the best way.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And I'm just going to perpetually say I'm tired just for the rest of my life.
Well, obviously God gave you some sort of energy capacity. I often think about this because I ponder my tiredness quite frequently because I get great sleep.
Yeah.
But I often compare myself to other people. Even my own mom, when she was raising me, she seemingly had like endless energy. And I'm like, where do you get all of this? Because I don't. I mean, I do a lot, and people say, wow, you really do a lot, but I feel tired doing it.
Yeah, so I actually feel the same way. So people tell me I'm not hyper. I'm definitely not hyper. Like, I like sleep and I'm calm. I definitely am not hyper, but I have high energy.
Yeah.
So I think because I go so hard, so strong, so frequently, that when I crash hard.
Yeah.
I also get pretty good sleep, but I'm still tired. I think I carry a lot of emotional weight. I say I love big, so I hurt big.
Yeah. Same.
So I think that's kind of draining.
Yeah.
And I honestly love your mom. This is in no way towards her, but I feel like generationally speaking, they were taught to compartmentalize.
Oh, for sure.
Because I think our parents are pretty close in age. And I just think they just put it in a box and kept going.
Yeah.
And our generation was taught to feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you're a feeler and you were told you can.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Oh my God, it's safe to now?
Yeah. And then like I feel like our parents are like, feel, because we never got to, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And then when we feel, they're like, all right, stop, that's enough.
That's so beautiful. I do feel like we are teaching that to our children too. Like, not only that it's okay to feel, but like how to feel, why it's important to not have things be stuck in the body, in the
Right.
mental body, in the emotional body,
Right.
how they will resolve if they do get stuck, right?
Right.
It turns into frustration, bitterness, anger, unresolved things.
Right.
And we don't want that. We don't want that in our bodies. It'll cause so much disease and just,
Which is, and which is where adoption comes from,
right.
right? Is the struggle.
Yeah.
Adoption is born out of extreme trauma.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in and of itself that is sweet about adoption. It is disruption, it is pain, it is hurt, it is born out of trauma and negative. And then we spend the rest of our life as the adoptive parent, and as I'm also adopted by my dad. So I understand it from a different capacity. I do have my birth mom, but I also don't have my birth father. So you spend your whole life trying to resolve that trauma for your kid and for yourself.
Yeah.
And I've never given up a child for adoption, but that's a different level of trauma. Like, it's not, I think everybody glamorizes adoption.
Yeah.
And they don't see the...
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Talk to me about your decision-making process of the decision you made to have your children grow up, your adopted children grow up with an understanding of their adoptedness.
Yeah. So we decided early on that we weren't going to lie to our children.
Smart.
Yeah, this is after we did, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and Tooth Fairy. So, we sucked for a long time at lying to our children. Actually, never been really good at it anyways. But when we decided to foster, we knew that the brokenness wasn't going to be a part of shame. And I think shame is when it's in the dark and nobody knows about it. And when you bring it to the light and people talk about it, then it takes that shame away. So I didn't ever want our kids to feel different. They're already going to feel different. They look different. They know that they look different. They're going to feel different. And we didn't know what ages or stages they would come.
Right.
So we decided early on that we were going to tell them exactly how we came to be mommy and daddy. And even if it was temporary, like, you can call me whatever you want, but we love you. And so we decided that we were going to tell Kersel from the beginning as soon as she was old enough. And we did change her name. So that was a process. And we have an open adoption. So she knows her birth family on the maternal side. And it's beautiful. And I was actually with her maternal grandmother this morning, dropping off a sleepover bag because she's going to spend the night Friday night. So it's who she is. Mm-hmm. And you can erase the names and you can change them and you can provide new documents that prove who they are legally. And she's now heir to our family, and her inheritance is through us and through Jesus because she has been baptized. But also she's forever has a birth mom and an other sibling that doesn't live with us, that was adopted by her grandmother, and she has a wonderful relationship with them. And so I didn't ever want her to guess who she was or why. And so if it was healthy and it worked, then I was willing to be healthy and work through it. And our story is sweet like that. Not everybody's story is like that. It's not capable for everybody. Not every family wants to have an open adoption, but I always dreamed that we'd sit side by side and say, look at our girls.
Yeah.
And, she passed away. So I didn't get that, that hope of her long-term recovery, but we did get to sit side by side during this last one's birth. And I got to pray over her and I got to love her.
So beautiful.
And we're bonded forever because she is their mom and so am I. So.
That's so beautiful. Did the little one is young, so I don't know her personality either, but at what age was there like inquisitiveness about the adoption?
It's so funny. So I don't really think Kersel ever realized she was adopted, even though she looked, totally different from us, until we adopted her sister.
Interesting.
And so she was 7, or I guess she was like almost 7. So she was 6 technically when she was born. And when we told her she was going to come home with us and that we were going to adopt her and that she's going to have this baby sister, when she came home, so she's like 6.5, and we'd go out to the grocery store or something, she'd be like, hey, did you know I'm adopted? And she is too.
To strangers.
Like to like the cashier. And it was like this obsession that she's adopted and they're both adopted and they're sisters. And I think it at that stage in her life was when she started to realize she was adopted, because it was through somebody else that she understood it. I don't think she ever understood it because she lived it, she experienced it. Now, I mean, she clearly knows, you know, she's 10, she fully understands everything. But at that age, at like 6, is when she knew. And then I think at 4 years old was the first time, and I have it on video, it's the cutest thing ever, that she said, I was born in Mama Tiffany's belly, and then she gave me to you, and I was born in your heart.
Oh.
And I was like, perfect, sums it up. That's it.
That's
that's
amazing.
it. So we always give that authority to her mama too. And so she's called her Mama Tiffany. That's what we've always called her, is she's mama. And so she had a relationship with her and she knew her. So the baby, I call her the baby, she's almost 4, but she was too young. She was less than a year old when she passed away. She did know her. She did get to meet her. She did get to hold her and love on her. And I have all those videos and pictures and all that, but not like Chriselle got to.
Yeah.
So I think that's also made it real. Like she actually got to recognize that that's my mom. She gave birth to this baby and gave her to my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
right. She was like there to witness the full
the whole
process.
process.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I've been reading a book recently, honestly, just for me personally to grow, but it's been really like giving me a lot of information to be starting to ask questions in regards to Elijah and her genetic history and her biological trauma that potentially is physically sitting in her body. And it's a book called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallen. Talks about emotional things that have genetic ties to our ancestors.
Like anxiety.
Yes. So Elisha has some anxiety issues. It's not diagnosed fully, but she's in therapy for it. She doesn't talk socially in school. She has committed and declared that she is going to talk in 2nd grade, which we are very hopeful that this is a thing. She talked in kindergarten, didn't talk in 1st grade. So 2nd grade, she's saying she's going to talk.
I actually got to see her recently at the playground with her dad.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't talk to me at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will show you a picture of you.
Yeah.
Like, I hold you, girl. Like, I know you. And she still wouldn't talk to me, but she would talk to dad in front of me.
Yeah, that's big.
So,
though.
so that's huge
big.
that she could talk, because I know it's like a selective
mutism.
Mutism, yeah. So I was like, well, at least I heard your voice.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I remember how shy she was when she was really little, and she's still very shy.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you talk about this book you're reading, because, you know, my oldest daughter is graduating with her undergrad in biology and going to PA school.
Okay.
So she is always reading medical journals and all these books, and she's a total book nerd, and I love it.
Yeah.
But she sends me like little snippets, and it's about anxiety and about how genetically your predisposition to anxiety from your mom
and grandmother.
Yes. So my mom is like a total hippy dippy lover of like, she doesn't have a fast pace in her body. She goes to, you know, she's slow paced. There's no like anxiety. I'm like the full bundle of anxiety. And Aaliyah is as well. Yeah. And I was a single teen mom with her. So there was a lot.
How could you not have anxiety?
Right. So I think there's a lot there, and, you know, performance driven personality that I am and she is. But that anxiety, she reads it and sends me snippets. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yes, it's my fault. Sorry. So sorry. But yeah, so through adoption, there's a lot you don't know.
Right.
Typically. Yeah. Right. Like I had
you
like
probably
front
had a
row
little
seat.
bit more awareness.
Yeah, which is wonderful. But when you throw in the father's genetics, it changes, because both my adopted girls have different biological fathers, and you can tell differences.
That's interesting. Yeah, we don't know anything about Elisha's birth father. Yeah, so it's been interesting thinking, like, how do I support this? And also even questioning, hey, is this me? Is this my thing, because I realized how much
Nature versus
anxiety
nurture.
I picked up from my mom, just in the form of like, let's go. Like my mom was always moving, again with the energy thing, and I'm always moving too.
Right.
So I'm always like, come on, let's get in the car. And like, she does take a little bit more time than like your average child.
Does
just
she
moves
take
a little
7
slower.
Barbie dolls and 3 baby dolls in a backpack
No,
and
I
2
would
cups?
never allow that.
Right, because you're already in the car honking. Like, let's go.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
always saying things like, wait, mommy, like, don't leave me. And I'm like, okay, I gotta slow down, because
Yeah.
it's like, I'm the one that's like encouraging this. So it's like,
Right.
okay, let's like move slower, because like what am I really like off to
Right.
do? And like, I am the only parent in the house that's doing the tasks, that's cooking the
Right.
dinner, that's
Right.
doing homework with her. So I do have to kind of be aware of that, because I do keep her on a good schedule. I do make sure she gets 10 to 12 hours of sleep at night, and like, I don't have time to do all the things
Right.
all the
So
time.
we need to go.
Yeah, so we
Right.
do need to go, and I
also
can help
am
you.
just impatient.
Yeah,
So
same.
like we need to go because like I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, and I love you. Get in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I started when she was probably 3 or 4 is saying, I am patient. And she tells me this all the time now. And I'm like, damn, I really shouldn't have done this, because my child tells me I am patient, mommy, like in a
Yeah.
silly,
Yeah.
sassy way. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I am patient.
Like, you know, nice hands. Like I would say that to, you know, when they were younger, like nice hands,
Yeah.
because they were hitting. So that's like her nice way of being like, I am patient.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, it's been interesting though. This book is there's a part in the book that talks about this lady. It's a psychiatrist that has a client, and she was experiencing like she was feeling like she was going to die. Like she had chest pain, she couldn't breathe. And this went on for so long. She was medicated and just nothing helped. And he went through and asked her during one of his sessions if she had any Jewish lineage. And she was like, why are you asking me this? And he's like, just play along, right? So they get into her lineage, and come to find out that some like great grandfather or grandmother had been killed in Auschwitz camp and gassed, right? And so what she was experiencing genetically was something like stuck in her, because
Like generationally passed down.
absolutely. And so they did this exercise with her that was like connecting with her ancestors and saying like, hey, I don't want to carry this burden anymore.
Right.
Like, and they didn't want her to. Anyways. And they did this exercise, and I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And Elijah she's 7 now, and she's just started to ask a little bit more questions about her adoption and the whole story, and like information. And it's so funny, the questions she asks. She asked if she had a different name a couple months ago, and I told her, and then she was so cute. She was like, you know, mommy, I'm not that Neva girl, I'm Elisha Joe. And I was like, yeah, you are, baby.
I know.
She was
Did
just
you
like,
love it?
oh my God, it's so cute. And yeah, it's so interesting. And I like what you said about keeping things in the dark and how that produces the shame. And Chris and I always discussed talking about her adoption, you know, around her, and speaking about it in a
like as if
positive
it's
way.
not a negative thing, right? Like I think we have to break the stigma culturally that adoption is this. Listen, it's traumatic. It is. Like I'm not going to whitewash it and make it okay, but it's also a part of her story, and that's who she is.
Yeah.
And so if we can get the shame gone by bringing it to light, to everybody around her knows she's adopted. She's just an incredibly beautiful child inside and out, and she's gentle and loving and creative and artistic. And when she talks about her adoption, I'm just blown away. Like she absolutely understands it fully. She's only 10, and I'm amazed at how she handles it. And it's funny you talk about the name thing. You know, she was almost 3 when we changed her name, so like 2.5. And I'll never forget when we started calling her new name. And by the way, that's a big topic, right? Changing names. So I'll circle back to that. But she looked at me and she goes, "Me not Trinity, me Cassell." Which Cassell is her new name. So we had called her it so much that when somebody would call her the old name, she would correct them. I mean, she was 2. It was like toddler gibberish still, but she did. And I didn't change her name to take anything away from her. I changed her name to give her our family.
Yeah.
And I think that's like common misconception amongst the foster, adoptive, non-adoptive world. And I know it hurt her biological family too. And the way I viewed it, and it is personal and it is selfish. And that's the reason I did it, like fully. But I chose names for my 2 birth children that were family related. And I wanted it to be true for all of my children. Like, oh, wait, these 2 are named after my family, but you're not.
Right.
Like, I feel like that was
Disconnection.
ostracizing.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yes, I was changing the birth name she was given, but I wasn't doing it to like remove anything that she was given. I was including her into our family who adopted her,
Right.
so that she couldn't be like, yeah, well, my sister's named after my aunt, my brother's named after my grandpa, and I don't know where I got mine.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So name change is really a part of their identity too.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to like generations, right? Like, so just like there's generational pain, like you're talking about, generational curses, like you bring that through your whole life, like what your greats did, but there's also blessings,
Right.
and there's generational blessings that can continue on and on and on and on. But I think names have power.
So much so.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted her to have, actually the name she was named after is after my childhood best friend, Chriselle, who's strong, who's fierce, who's independent. Hi, enter my 10-year-old.
That's literally who your daughter is.
Yes.
Verbatim.
Yes. Little friction with that sometimes, but yeah. And so I think the name has power.
Yeah.
And that's why it was chosen for her to have some inclusion in our family and to not identify her, but for her to be identifiable as a piece of our family.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Elisha's name that she was given in the hospital was actually by another family that was previously set to adopt her. And then when she had all the medical issues, they kind of got disqualified from adopting her. And so it didn't feel like that for us as far as that whole family thing. And her adopted or her birth mom did not name her. So it was easy. It was an easy choice for us to name her what we wanted to name her. 1, because she was infant, and 2,
and then you'd spend the rest of your life correcting how people say her name.
Oh my God, I think it bothers my ex-husband more than it bothers me, because
I know.
Like, one day Elisha will be like, excuse me, no, it's Elisha, or she just won't give a heck, and she'll just move on about her life and not correct people, which is just like, we had a parent-teacher conference meeting yesterday at her school, and one of the therapists said Alicia, and I was just like, and I was waiting for Chris to correct her, but he didn't. So I was like, oh, maybe there's progress.
Well, Chriselle corrects everybody because they all call her Christelle. There's no T in her name.
Yeah.
But Chriselle is a very unique name. Yeah. And she's named after her mom's childhood best friend, who was named after her mom's childhood best friend. Aww. So it was like only proper that, that I could follow that tradition. But she corrects everybody. She's like, Chriselle. Like,
say
no
it
T.
with me now.
Yeah, seriously. And she like holds on the S so that they know.
What does it mean?
Her name? Yeah. So it's a made up name. So it took 2 grandmothers' names and combined them of my best friend's mom's best friend's grandparents.
Okay.
It's a long, follow it through. So there wasn't like a definition for it because it's 2 different names. I mean, I could break them apart and do root words for like Chris and for L, but I don't ever do that.
Yeah. Okay. That's neat. I do have always felt a very strong connection to names and how with the meaning of the actual word, and when we speak it, how we're kind of pulling forth the meaning into reality, into existence, which is why every night I do affirmations with my kid, because if I would have practiced that from a young age, that going back to the talking about the feelings thing, I would have so much less work to do as an adult of like actually realizing my worth, actually realizing that I am safe, that I'm loved, that I'm worthy of love, and all of these things that I walk through with my child. And oh my God, she gets so silly when we do these sometimes. Like last night, she was like, she speeds through them when she knows it's time to do them. And then she was like, I am funny butt. And I was like, you are a funny butt. And then we started adding on, I am grateful for, and then she has a list, and she always says my brain and my body. Like those are the first 2 things. And
considering her birth into this world of what a beautiful, like, that's like instinctual, like
Right.
like she knows in her core that those two things were almost taken from her,
Yep, absolutely.
and that she's fought hard
yeah.
for those two things to work together.
And she has a long way to go still. She asks questions about why her left hand works very differently than her right, and she doesn't have independent function of her fingers yet, and she may never, but she can grasp and she can use it. It's not just like a dead limb, but
which was possible when she was
right.
born. Like, we didn't know. Right.
Absolutely. So, and plus with like technology advancing, and they're coming out with stuff that you can put on the hands that connect to the brain that help it move independently, but they just don't have anything sized for children yet. So
Right.
it's like, all right, we gotta wait. We
We do. But the affirmations that you're talking about, it will also teach, like, because, you know, our generation wasn't raised with those, right? Because our parents were raised of the generation of, you know, children should be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
And then they had kids and they had to hear us and they didn't know what to do with that. But then I think those affirmations, it's like awkward to give somebody to affirm them.
Yeah.
But when you start doing it, you see the beauty from it. And so we affirm our children. I just find it so much easier to affirm my children than my husband, and I love him. It's just awkward, right? So now that we practice those affirmations, and then something I've done with Chriselle since she was really little, you know, she struggled a lot with mental health, again, traumatic, right, from adoption, and I would say the fruits of the Spirit with her in prayer every day, and I would call her up, right? So gentleness, kindness, peacefulness, joy, self-control, and then I'd throw in obedience. You know, like, we just added our own fruit of the Spirit, because like I would say them all. I'd pray every morning before school. I'm like, please don't call me and ask me to come get her because we're praying for obedience today. But you know, it's so funny. Like, she knows, right? Gentleness, kindness, joy. Like, she knows that that is who she is, that she's gentle, she's kind, she's joy. And she finds that through her identity, which is not in what somebody else thinks of her.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
what's given to her,
and
right?
that was like our whole upbringing, at least for me. It's like all of this pressure to
to perform.
And there was like, no, just like, hey, let's just let
Were you born in the late 80s or early 90s?
The early 90s.
Okay, yeah. And I'm early 80s. So we're not that far off.
Yeah.
But performance. Like, work.
Still trying to
We need that
unprogram.
playing in the background right now. Work. Like, just perform.
Do.
Yeah,
be.
do. Right. And be perfect. And so then when we're doers and we feel big, and it affirms us because we got so much done,
Right.
that it actually feels like I'm a failure if I slow down.
Right.
Like, then I'm weak. Girl,
Which is
I'm off my game.
Teaches us to be disconnected from our bodies,
Yes.
right? Because now what
And
we're teaching our
disconnected from
children,
people because we're actually performing tasks instead of people.
right? And now teaching our children to be connected and listen to their bodies. Like, is your tummy full? Oh, you don't want to eat anymore? Okay. All right. Not
And
like
then
finish your whole plate.
You're
until
not,
it's
you're
gone.
sleeping at the table until you eat it all, right?
Oh my God, I'm glad you had the same childhood as me.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like, you have to eat everything on your plate. Like, when my kids tell me they don't like food, I'm like, girl, we weren't allowed to not like what was fed.
Right.
And everybody's like, what would you like, this or that? And I'm like, oh, you were raised that way? We were not raised the same. Like, we did
You
not
eat
get
what's
options.
on your plate.
Yes.
I kind of toggle between both. Like, sometimes I'm like, I have meals planned and that's what we're eating and there's no arguing. Or sometimes I'm like, all right, let's see what she wants. Maybe she's craving something. I know I was craving things as a kid,
Right.
but like, luckily, like, as a kid, I grew up in an Italian house. We had pasta and bread and salad at every meal. Like,
Fantastic.
so it was like, I got what I wanted.
So I grew up in a Southern home, so we had bread and
Meat
butter
and
at every meal and meat and potatoes. But it's so funny. I think I also toggle in between, and it's like the number one control for adopted children.
Food.
What goes in and what comes out, right?
Yeah.
So like when they're frustrated. So what do you think we struggled with in our house as parents was food.
Yeah.
We still do. It's a big deal for us. But so I learned that the way I was raised won't work. Shocker. I know. And as much as I don't want to be that way, I am that way. And so I'm like, you're eating this food. But it's like, it's intensified because my love language is acts of service. So by feeding you is telling you I love you. If you reject my food, you're
What does that say
rejecting
about
my
me?
love.
Yeah.
So not only are you pissing me off that I just cooked, shopped, fed, prepped all this stuff for your dinner because I love you, then you won't eat it?
Yeah.
Like, are you rejecting me, or are you being disobedient, or both? And right now I'm pissed.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
Yeah.
So you're eating your food. So we had to work through that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so funny now, like being on the other side of that where I don't freak out about it anymore. My older kid comes home from college. She goes, I actually don't like this meal. And I'm like, oh, really? You've always eaten it? She's like, yeah, because I'm the firstborn. I was never going to tell you I didn't like it. She's such a people pleaser, you know? I'm like, oh, okay, you don't have to eat it.
That's so
like,
funny.
But like, she's finally like a 21 years old telling me, like, I don't like soup. And I'm like, but you always eat soup. And then my 15-year-old's like, I don't like soup either. I'm like, anybody else want to tell me that they don't like the food I've been cooking for 15 years? And then like my hard to eat kids, she's like, oh, I like soup.
You're like, okay, one of you loves me.
Whatever. Stop rejecting my love. So.
Oh my gosh. If you could go back and talk to your 30-year-old self, and what would you say to equip yourself for the things that were the most challenging things that you maybe were going to experience?
I would say stop freaking out. It gets so much easier. God, 30s were rough. I feel like 30s are the worst. And I can say that because I'm 40.
Yeah.
Like officially. I've moved into my 40 era. 20s were fantastic because you're hot, young, excited. Like you think you're so confident. Whether you're hot or not, you think you are. You know, you're young, you're fearless, you're all the things. Yeah. And then the 30s are like you get wounded, your friends suck. Some people get married, some people have kids, some don't. You hurt for those who don't. You experience this like career shifts, change your expectations for where you should be versus where you are. Like 30s are rough. They're rough. And then the 40s come and you're like, well, I actually just shared this on my stories on social media. Like the first 40 years were to learn. And the second 40 years are to like to implement everything and have your best life. So I would tell myself if I were 30, I was just having my third kid, which was going to be the roughest decade of my life. Hold on, it gets better.
Yeah.
You get through it. Like the storm will pass. Even if you feel like you're suffocating, I feel like the storm passes and then opens up your confidence in yourself. Like you are who you are. You know that. You've gone through the trials. They've burned into who you are. You were forged into the woman you are today. And those are experiences and lessons that are going to come meet somebody else in their trench. And you're going to walk into their fire and be like, come on, it's okay. We can do this.
That's beautiful. Yep. I've got 8 more years. I'm having a good experience.
These are hard years, though. These are the years where you're like, okay, I'm no longer this young, naive, unfiltered person, right? You're forming everything you want in life, your business, your career, your home, your children, your love life. Like this is like the season of like forging, right? And I went to this foster adoptive retreat, and it was called Rooted. And I'll always remember it because it feels like you're being buried, but God's actually rooting you.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes it'll feel like the weight of everything is heavy, but really you're just like forming your roots so that you can grow up and you're going to be beautiful and spring is going to come and you're going to see all this goodness, but it takes work, right? You have to toil the soil and you have to do fertilizer and then the right ratio of water and don't drown it out and don't keep it in the desert and in the window, out the window. You're kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I started quite a large garden in my backyard this season in January, and I'm enjoying so much the reflective nature of what I'm physically doing in my garden. How much I'm learning because I've never been a garden person. Right. And I feel like I'm being very humbled, but also like there's so much. Humbled. It's so fulfilling.
It is.
It's so fulfilling.
I can keep orchids alive because they require watering once a week.
Once a week.
I
hand water my whole entire garden every morning.
But that's got to be so freeing.
It is.
Like you just start your day with such peace. Yep. My mom's that way. You're like her hippy dippy, aren't you? Tree hugger. But you're fast paced.
Yes.
My mom's
I was like watering and like watching the ducks sitting.
She watches the hummingbirds and waters every morning and just like has her like total inner peace time.
Yeah. No.
And I'm like, don't talk to me for the first 42 minutes of my wake up and I need coffee. And my kids come out and I'm like, we're not ready. We're not the same.
Nope. Go. Oh, actually, me too. So it's perfect. If you go out this door,
Okay.
it's right down that hallway.
Oh, my coffee.
Same. Stay. So straight there and then to the right.
Okay.
So it's so funny that you talked about the rooted thing because I wrote this little roots of love meditation as
Yeah.
like our little outro.
Yeah.
Because I think that something that I've learned over the past couple years is that my peace is rooted in security. And when things are chaotic, I do not feel secure. I do not feel peace.
Right.
And my child feels that too.
Right.
And especially feels it probably multiplied because of her understanding and awareness that she has been abandoned before
Right.
in some way, in her own view of how it works.
Right.
Now, I have to accept that that's where she's at and that's what she feels. She knows I will not abandon her because I continually remind her that I'm always there for her. And, then she's lived in 2 houses too. So she's had separate experiences with that too on top of the adoption. And I think she's really doing good. I don't think that there's like a lot of things happening in her behavior that I'm like super concerned about. She has a ton of support. She has so much support. She has so many people that love her. I'm so grateful, for the way in which Chris has chosen to co-parent with me amidst our differences sometimes. I think he's a great dad, and I'm so grateful that Stephanie, his wife, has such a deep involvement in her life as well. She was like hyper active last night because Stephanie's mom, who she calls mom, is in town, and she has been sleeping in Elijah's bed, and she's been at my house the last 2 nights, and today she goes back to Chris's, and she was like hyper active at bedtime. It was like an hour and a half to get her to go to sleep, and I'm like on her little hatch thing, I'm like playing lullaby stories like one after the other because she was just like so excited to go see mom after school. And this morning when she woke up in my bed, she was like, I don't want to go to school. I just want to go to daddy's. And I was like, I know, but baby, if you go to school, it'll go really fast and then you'll get to see mom.
Right.
And she was just like so excited. But I want to wrap things up. I want to just say to you, thank you so much for honoring the call to be the woman that you are, the wife that you are. I know we didn't even touch on like your experience as a wife and the things that you and your husband have gone through. But just honoring what you feel called to do as a human on this earth, and as a woman of God, a woman of faith, and a mom that wants to love beyond.
Just love well.
Yeah.
Right. Just love well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I love that that God works out that perfectly. That rooted was what you were talking about. And I just want to say to your security, there's 8 needs that we all need,
Yep.
like basic
Yep.
needs that we require, and security is one of my highest too. So I get that. And without security, we all have like flesh patterns.
Yeah.
Right? And I go into control
Yeah.
and chaos and whatever. So I get that. I relate to you. And I think that we always have related so well on so many different things, even though our lives and journeys are very different. So thanks for having me. Thanks for being willing to share the vulnerable, because I think some people are like so intimidated by that. And I think, again, with shame, if you bring the truth to the light, there's no shame in it. And
Absolutely.
it is hard and it is uncomfortable to parent. And, when your kid's 21 tell you they don't like your dinner, that means that she was afraid of me at some point to tell me she didn't like my food. Or she was a performing perfectionist too, probably a little bit of both. But, so doing this brings light to those vulnerable places.
Absolutely.
And we get to talk about hard things.
Yeah.
And you get to be relatable, because somebody else doesn't have the courage to talk about what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they can listen to it and be like, oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm 32 and I'm just now being able to talk to my mom about things that I experienced as a child.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm trying to figure out in this moment for myself why my voice was stifled as a child. But right now it's certainly not. And I think that I allow little Danny to come through more often now than ever. And being able to sit down with my mom and have those conversations of like, that this is how I felt like as a kid.
Well,
and
it's perfect that it's almost Mother's Day.
Right.
And you're going to go spend the day with her.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it because I want her to feel any sort of way. I don't want her to I don't even want her to apologize.
Right.
Because I can completely accept that was where she was at and the plethora of things she had on her shoulders.
Sure.
I don't care about. I'm just trying to hear, just to give you light and maybe
like why I am the way I am and why I feel the way that I feel. And same. So my mom's actually coming into town, and we could not be more opposite.
Yeah.
Right. I love my mom to death. She's an incredible human being. I've never met anybody that didn't love my mom. I met people every day that don't like me. Like, we're very different, right? She's super sweet. But anyways, I also share with her. Like, I've never not shared with her, but she's starting to share with me, because she's always been so quiet her whole life because of what she's gone through. And so she's finding her voice, and I've always had one. In fact, I would tend to have one for her because I wanted to protect her. So just that, like, again, the genetics, right, that comes through us.
Yeah.
And that we are who we are because they are who they are because of their experiences and where they've been and where they are. So I agree.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming in and just opening yourself to these stories and these experiences. And I hope that there's some time of reflection that you can sit and take all of this in. And I just want to end with a little meditation, a little connectedness to ourselves, to our bodies, to God. And so before we close today, I want to invite you into this grounding exercise to slow down and root into your essence. Connect with love for yourself and for the world around you. Slow down. Remember that you don't have to be, you don't have to do, you can just exist in the world. So I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to take a deep breath in. And I want us to imagine roots growing from the soles of our feet, reaching down deep into the earth, anchoring you in stability and peace. And with each breath, these roots stretch deeper, pulling up nourishment and strength, connecting you to the heartbeat of the earth. And as you breathe in, feel that energy rise up through your body, filling you with warmth and love. Breathing out any tension, any noise, any distractions. Breathing in love. Breathing out anything that doesn't serve you right here, right now. I'm so grateful for the love that connects us all, the love that connects us to our Creator, to the divine, to God, to whatever your higher power is. Touch base with that power, touch base with that Creator source energy as often as you can to maintain your groundedness, to maintain your peace, your mental fortitude. Because this world is very difficult sometimes. But if you maintain that connection, God will always provide everything that you need. And I thank you, Missy, for being here. I love you.
Love you. Thanks for having me.
And we wish you all such a beautiful day.
See ya.
See ya.